When I landed an internship at Sterling, Beck and Howe LLP, I thought I'd made it. The name alone carried weight. Marble floors, glass offices, suits sharp enough to slice through arrogance. They called us summer associates, which sounded glamorous, but the truth was we were glorified coffee fetchers in pressed shirts. Still, I told myself, keep your head down, impress the partners, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get hired full-time. On my first day, the HR manager, Clarissa, smiled with the warmth of an HR bot. "We're thrilled to have you, Nathan," she said, her voice sticky with practiced enthusiasm. "At Sterling Beck, interns who work hard always find a place here." That line, it became a ghost that haunted me. I quickly learned that work hard meant bleed for the firm. Late nights, impossible deadlines, partners who handed you 300 pages of documents at 6:45 p.m. and said, "Need this summarized before morning." Complied, of course. Maliciously so, though I didn't know it yet. The other interns whispered among themselves in the break room. "Don't expect to get hired," one muttered. "They take 20 of us, keep 2. And those 2, nepotism picks." I laughed it off until I saw the pattern myself. Every year, they pretended to consider us all for positions. They gave glowing feedback, endless praise, and at the end of summer, everyone got the same email. "Unfortunately, we are unable to extend a full-time offer at this time. Please keep in touch." The law firm equivalent of, "It's not you, it's us." One night, after my 10th 14-hour day, I was alone in the office printing out exhibits for a partner named Graham Leland, the kind of man who thought empathy was a weakness and interns were furniture. While the printer churned, I noticed something odd, a folder on the shared drive titled Associate Retention Strategy. Curiosity killed the career, I thought. But curiosity also wins lawsuits, and I was in law school for a reason. I opened it. Inside were memos, spreadsheets, even internal emails. And what they described made my stomach twist. The firm had a calculated system. Every year they hired 30 interns. They worked them to exhaustion, unpaid overtime included. Each intern generated billable work labeled as associate support, hours charged to clients under fake initials. By the end of summer, each intern brought in tens of thousands of dollars in hidden profit. And because no one was hired, they avoided paying benefits, salaries, or training costs. It was a permanent churn machine, a renewable resource of desperate law students. I sat there in the glow of the monitor, heart pounding. This wasn't just shady. It was fraud. But if I reported it outright, I'd burn my own future. No one hires a whistleblower. I needed another way. The next day, I smiled through exhaustion and started collecting evidence quietly. Screenshots, invoices, metadata. I cross-referenced client bills with our project logs, and there it was, my initials replaced with A. Roberts, a non-existent junior associate. Classic corporate sleight of hand. A week later, Graham called me into his office. "Nathan, I've been reviewing your work," he said, eyes sharp. "You're thorough, detail-oriented. We like that here." "Thank you, sir." He leaned back, smug. "I need you to sign a non-disclosure form regarding the client files you've handled. Standard procedure." I skimmed it. It wasn't standard. It included a clause forbidding me from disclosing any internal data, even after my internship ended. I looked up. "Just so I understand, this covers everything I've accessed on the shared drive?" He smirked. "Everything, yes. You'll want to stay on our good side, Nathan. That's how we decide who gets hired." That was the moment I decided to comply, maliciously. I signed the form. I kept working. I followed every order to the letter. If Graham said, "Summarize the deposition notes," I summarized every page, footnote, and timestamp. If Clarissa said, "Help HR with intern evaluations," I created detailed summaries of every intern's logged hours, including my own. And in those logs, I highlighted every discrepancy, every false billing tag, every missing name, every hour that magically turned into associate time. Then, on my final day, they gathered all of us interns into the conference room. Clarissa beamed her professional smile. "We want to thank you all for an incredible summer. You've been invaluable. Unfortunately, You could feel the air deflate. We won't be extending offers this cycle. But you should all be proud of your work. Cue polite applause. That night, I sent one email, not to HR, not to the partners, but to the firm's top clients. That night, my fingers hovered over the send button for a full minute. My heart hammered like I was standing in court about to make an opening statement. I wasn't emailing anonymously. The message came from my personal address. But I wasn't accusing anyone outright either. Instead, I wrote, "Dear Counsel, I was privileged to assist on your firm's recent litigation. While reviewing the billing data, I noticed several discrepancies that might affect your case costs. Attached are internal summaries highlighting the inconsistencies. Please ensure your accounting department reviews them immediately. Best, Nathan M. Sterling, Beck & Howe, Summer Associate." I attached the evidence, careful to include nothing confidential, only billing inconsistencies that were already sent to those clients. No NDA in the world could silence that. Then I clicked send. The first reply came the next morning at 6:47 a.m. from one of the firm's biggest clients, Bellington Pharma. "We have questions about your billing statements. Please explain the associate time allocations." Within an hour, chaos erupted. Partners ran up and down the halls like lawyers in a fire drill. HR locked doors. IT tried to trace the leak. By 10 a.m., an emergency meeting was called. Clarissa looked ready to faint. Graham's face was crimson. "Who had access to these billing files?" he barked. Everyone pointed to me. I didn't deny it. "I worked on the exhibits. You told me to." He glared. "Did you send any documents outside the firm?" "I followed the NDA you gave me," I said calmly. "It said I couldn't disclose internal data. Those were client files." The clause specifically excluded communications with the clients themselves. He froze. I saw the flicker of panic in his eyes. They'd written that clause themselves, and I'd weaponized it. For the rest of the day, partners vanished behind glass doors. I could almost smell the fear. The firm had to admit to clients that non-existent associates had billed hundreds of hours. It was an accounting oversight, they said, but clients weren't buying it. The next week, half the firm's contracts were under review. Internal investigators arrived. HR paused the internship program indefinitely. And me? I was sitting at home, sipping instant coffee, when I got the call. It was Graham. "You think you're clever?" he hissed. "You've ruined your career before it's even started." I kept my tone polite. "I didn't break any laws. I didn't share internal data. I simply helped your clients review their invoices. It's the ethical thing to do. You'll never work in this city again." I smiled. "Maybe not for your firm, but probably against it." Then I hung up. 2 months later, I was contacted by an attorney from the State Bar's Ethics Committee. They wanted a witness statement. Apparently, I wasn't the only intern who had seen too much. I gave them everything I had, carefully, legally. By the following spring, the scandal made headlines. Prestigious law firm accused of inflating client bills using intern labor. Graham resigned. Clarissa transitioned to another opportunity. Sterling, Beck & Howe restructured under a new name, hoping people would forget. But people don't forget easily when you build your empire on free labor. As for me, I didn't apply for another corporate job. Instead, I joined a small legal startup run by former whistleblowers and ethics lawyers. We specialized in employment law, especially for interns, contract workers, and people like me who'd been crushed under standard procedure. On my first day there, my new boss, a woman named Maya, asked, "What made you want to work here?" I smiled. "Let's just say I learned the hard way what happens when good people follow bad rules." She laughed. "Well, that's the perfect place to start." Sometimes I think back to that night. The glow of the monitor, the rush of fear before I hit send. I didn't plan to bring a law firm to its knees. I just wanted to do what was right. But maybe that's what malicious compliance really is. Not rebellion, not vengeance, just the quiet satisfaction of using their own words, their own rules to make justice happen. Months later, I received a letter, embossed, expensive paper, no return address. Inside was one line, typed neatly, Next time, read the fine print, kid. No signature. I framed it, because for once in my life I already had.